We'll be doing a review on compact cameras versus digital SLR cameras. Now the first thing you're going to notice, of course, is the build and the size of these two cameras. Now the G7 is very light and very small, very easy to fit into a pocket or carry along with you on a vacation. I would much rather carry this on a vacation than this camera, that's for sure. If you just turn on the camera and like to shoot pictures, then the compact is the camera for you. Now, of course, the build on this, it's all plastic, and it's got an okay hold. It's better than most compacts because this is an advanced compact camera. It's the G7. But the hold and the build is nothing like the D80 that you will get. This feels a lot better in my hand. It feels balanced, even though it is a lot heavier and a lot larger. I feel like I've really got a hold of this. It's really sturdy in my hand, and I can definitely hold it much stiller than I could with this. The build itself is a lot better with a digital SLR. It's built to be used a lot, and it's built to last. And it's, it does look big and bulky, but it's not clunky at all. All the controls are very well placed on it, and it's very, very, very well built, like I said. Now, I'm going to go over a couple of the really major differences between the compact and a digital SLR. And probably the most different thing about them is that digital SLRs are called SLRs for a reason, and that's because they have interchangeable lenses, which means I can take off the lens and replace it with a different lens. So I can take off the lens and put a different lens on it. Now the advantage to being able to take off the lens means that you can switch it out with one of hundreds of Nikon's other lenses. So you have hundreds of choices of different lenses for this Nikon camera, ranging from beginner all the way to professional level lenses. Now with the G7, it also comes with little replacement lenses on it that can convert it to wide or telephoto. You just take this off, and then you can put a teleconverter on here that is specially built for the Canon G7. But there's only 2 of those compared to the hundreds that Nikon has. Hundreds of different lenses that Nikon has. And of course this is a fixed lens, so you're just going to get this lens on here. It doesn't come off at all, and you get one focal range, which this one has a 6x optical zoom, and there's other cameras that have 3, or there's ones that have even 15 optical zoom on them. Now, we're also going to go over the controls on the cameras a little bit. This is an advanced compact camera, so it's going to have a lot more controls than your average compact camera. But most compact cameras, you just turn them on and you shoot the picture. You don't really need to control them at all. With a more advanced compact camera, there's more controls on it, very similar to an SLR camera. And what that does is basically it controls how you take your picture and what your picture is going to look like when it comes out. Now the digital SLR, of course, is going to have a lot more control over your picture. There's a lot more functions on it. There's a lot more buttons that you will find on there. A lot more settings and different features that you can use with a digital SLR compared to a compact camera. Now, one of the major differences between these two cameras is speed, consistency, and precision. Now, of course, with the digital SLR, you're going to get all 3 of those are going to be a lot better than with a compact camera, even an advanced compact camera. For instance, the frames per second on this camera is 3 frames per second, and it can take that up to 100 JPEG images. Now, this camera, since it's an advanced compact camera, can do 2 frames per second, which is neat, but it does not have as large of a buffer. It might be able to take, 20 JPEGs instead of just 100. But most normal compact cameras around $300, $200 range will not have continuous shooting, and usually after you shoot it takes about a second before you can take another shot. Now, in terms of speed of turning on, that's a good example of speed on the cameras and the differences. Now I'm going to turn on the Canon G7, and I'm going to take a picture as fast as I can, and I'm also going to do the same on the Nikon D80. So I'm going to turn on the G7, and that's how fast I can take a picture on the G7. Now the G7 is definitely a lot faster start than normal compact cameras, of course. Normal compact cameras would take a lot longer, maybe twice as long to start up. Now I'm going to show you what an SLR is like when you start it up. And that's how fast I can take the picture on this. which is reasonably faster than the G7. Now, of course, you're going to get more consistent and precise results with the D80, and why that is just because of its more professional features, like its autofocus system and its image processing does a lot better job than it would in a normal G7 or a normal compact camera. It reads it a lot better, it reads the exposure and white balance a lot better, and the autofocus is a lot more precise than on a compact camera. So, you're going to get pictures. If you take pictures a lot, you're really going to like that difference in consistency and results. But if you really don't take pictures and you just like to take pictures for fun and stuff like that, then the compact camera is fine. There's not really a huge difference unless you take a lot of pictures, of course. Now I'm going to move on to image quality a little bit, and it's not major difference, and there's no difference in resolution whatsoever between the cameras. This has 10 megapixels and this has 10 megapixels. There's no difference there. Where the difference comes in is the size of the sensor. Now I'm going to show you an example right here. These are the two different sizes of the sensor. This is the sensor in the D80, and this is the sensor in the Canon G7. As you can see, there's a real big difference in size there. And that's what makes the D80 so bulky in the body, and that's why the D80 has to take such large lenses. It makes sense now, considering it has a larger sensor, it needs a larger body and a larger lens, whereas the Canon G7 has a smaller sensor and has a smaller body and a smaller lens. So that's why a digital SLR is so much larger than a compact camera. Now, what do you get with this larger sensor? Well, you get better light retention. The sensor has bigger pixels, of course, than the Canon G7. And being so, you're going to get a lot more accurate exposures and more accurate white balance. You're also going to get better sharpness with this sensor, and you're going to get a lot better noise control with this sensor since it's a lot larger. And you can really see the difference in noise in a picture about 11 by 14. Now, but really, to tell you the truth, if you just print out pictures 8 by 10 or 11 by 14, a compact camera should be plenty for you. If you're really going to print pictures out big, like 13 by 19 to 20 by 30, then a digital SLR, you will definitely be able to see the image quality difference between this and a compact camera. You'll see sharper results, less noise, you'll see a much smoother tone in the picture compared to this, which will be at large prints will be grainy, and you will definitely see better color accuracy with a digital SLR camera. Now the question is, which one should you get? Now, of course, if you are the type of person who just takes a camera on vacation to take pictures of your kids, or for instance you're going to a party and want to take pictures with your friends and stuff for fun, then that's definitely a type of situation where you're going to want to use a compact, because you're not going to print out large pictures of that, and you're not going to really need the speed and consistency of an SLR camera. Now, if you're more of a photographer type of person and you want to do it for art reasons and you do it all the time, then you definitely want to consider a digital SLR like the D80, where you get faster, more consistent results with better image quality at larger prints, and also more control and a better body build. Now, of course, if you're on a budget, of course, and you want the results that an SLR will give you, Nikon has actually introduced what's called the Nikon D40, and it is a very small SLR camera. It's definitely not as big as this. It's closer to the size of a compact camera, except it still has the 1.5 sensor here that you'd find in the D80, except at a much less price. You can get it for $500, which is the exact same price of this camera here. So if you're on a budget and you want that image quality and the speed of a SLR, then you should probably consider the D40, which is, like I said, only $500. And this has been a review between compact and digital SLR camera.